Hey friends, it's Manjula from Manjulatarot. I have a very special video for you today. It's all about how to get over your ex, and I'm going to give you 6 steps to do this. And it's based on my personal experience as well as a lot of things that I've encountered in different podcasts that I've listened to and experts who have been so full of wisdom for me in my own experiences. And if you have not met me before, my name is Manjula from Manjula Tarot, and I am a cult survivor. I was in a cult for 10 years. I was recruited when I was 23 years old, and my former partner got me out of the group when I was about 32. And being in a cult for 10 years was a really hard experience for me when I realized how much time I had lost. And if you're going through a breakup right now with somebody who may have been kind of toxic for you or somebody that just wasn't the right fit, there are a lot of complex emotions that go on inside of you. And I'm making this parallel with me leaving the cult because the person who was leading this group was a very charismatic leader, somebody who was a man running a women's spirituality group. And so I was duped, I was manipulated. I went through a really tough experience there. I was abused there. And I have a lot of wisdom to share about the process, which ultimately led to my own healing and growth and development, but can apply directly in your life too. And your ex might not be a bad person. They might not have the same narcissistic qualities or the manipulation, but some people also experience a lot of toxicity when they're letting go of somebody that they felt this connection for. And I could tell you one thing that with a lot of my tarot clients, many of them are trying to heal from toxic relationships or relationships where intuitively they knew that this person wasn't right for them, but they're still trying to mentally justify it, or their heart is still really attached to these people as well. So I'm going to go through these 6 steps with you, and they're going to be so helpful in your healing journey. This video is really meant for people who are ready to move on in their lives and let their ex go. But it's also good for people who have been addicted in the process of just interacting with their ex. I literally did a reading for somebody yesterday, and she told me that she had broken up with her ex and gotten back together with him 4 times. And I think this is a very common thing. I personally have not experienced that in a romantic relationship, but I know that I tried to leave the group at least once or twice and was unsuccessful in doing that. And I felt this pull to come back to the group. And I actually even had a dream and felt this deep connection with the leader. And so I can relate to how you're feeling, that you feel this emotional connection to your ex. And that sort of tricks you into thinking that maybe this person is still right for me. And it's really hard to break away if you feel that emotional connection. So it's also like an addiction where you're riding the highs and then riding the lows, and it's this roller coaster ride, but it feels really addictive to be on that roller coaster ride because it's so thrilling. And when you feel those high sensations, it could be really amazing and emotional. And you think that it's love and you think that it's this exhilarating feeling. But in actuality, it's just setting you up for the crash eventually. So let's start with each of these 6 items. I have them written down here. The first step to getting over your ex is to block them. I know that this is kind of a controversial topic for a lot of people. And you might be thinking, hey, like, I still care about this person. I want to see how they're doing. And I really want to just put my energy out there still and stay connected to them. Don't give in to that. When I was getting over my ex, I made the mistake of trying to stay friends with him. And we had been together for a year. It was a long distance relationship. And I tried to maintain a friendly texting relationship with him. And what I found was that it was just really difficult because it brought up all these feelings and irresolutions. I was so attached still. And I remember my therapist saying to me that it's really hard to bring somebody into your life if you're still attached to them. You're not creating space and room for other people to come in. So, the easiest way to do this is to block them on social media, block their number from your phone. Don't have a way in which you can stalk them on social media and be tempted to do that, or just text them, especially if you have had a couple of drinks and you miss them so much and you really want to send out that text to them. I would say just take that temptation out completely and block them. And that way they could also not see what's going on in your life as well. And it's kind of a mutual thing. And also, it's really hard if you see your ex with a new partner, and that could be really jarring. It could bring up a lot of emotions. So just block them. That is the best way to handle it. It's really hard to do. I admit that I struggled with it too, but I think it's the best way in which to give yourself space for that healing process. And I pulled up some tarot cards to help explain this whole process. And one of the cards that interestingly came is the King of Wands. So this is all about like creating those boundaries inside yourself, using that masculine assertive energy in order to create the boundaries of blocking, and doing it with passion, doing it with a sense of, hey, like I'm doing this for myself. And it takes a lot of courage. So, what I love about the King of Wands is that he has these lions in the background, which symbolize courage. And you're being very courageous in the face of feeling all these emotions and blocking your ex. So, the next one I would say is to sit with all of the emotions that are going to come up. I mean, they're coming up already from your breakup, but I have the moon card here, which is a very, very emotional card. It's really intense to feel what you're feeling. It could be rage, it could be grief, it could be fear that you're never going to find somebody again. And I can definitely empathize with those feelings. And there might be some conflict too. It's the conflict of feeling like, hey, maybe this person was my soulmate. Maybe I messed it up. Maybe I'm making the biggest mistake in my life. And it's really good to just sit with all these emotions and grief and feel it, cry. Don't let it stay in your body. If you need to release it in some way, do that. Also, if the person betrayed you and you're feeling that anger and that rage, you're totally entitled to feel it. Just don't act on it in a way that's going to be hurtful to other people. I think it's a great practice to write down your feelings and also prepare yourself mentally for the next step in this whole process. So, step 3, after you sit with your grief and your emotions, is to do a healing ritual around cord cutting or writing your ex a letter that you're never going to send and you tear it up. And it's interesting that the moon card came here too, because you can do this ceremony with the new moon or the full moon. Oh, I know that we're having a new moon come up soon at the time of this recording. And it's a way to just put out intentions and start fresh and to really let go of those emotions that are holding you back. So it's a time for a beautiful ritual. You can take a bath or a shower. You can light a candle, set the intention for your ritual. And in the description box, I'm going to put a link to one of my favorite cord cutting meditations that I give a lot of my tarot clients, because so many people come to me with this problem of feeling really attached still to their ex. And I feel so bad because I know exactly what they're going through and what you're going through. So I would recommend doing an actual meditation for cutting that cord. And in the meditation, you will find that there's probably a space where you're energetically still connected to your ex, and it lives in one of your chakras. So the chakras is an energetic system in your body, and I've had cords come from my third chakra, which is at the stomach area, which is all about like where your self-worth lies. I've had it in my chest, which is all about like giving my heart away and loving somebody, but still feeling that connection here. I've had it before in my throat chakra, which is all about like my creative expression, speaking my truth to people. So it could be anywhere in your body or multiple places. And what's beautiful about this meditation that I'll post for you is that it's not about cutting the person off. It's about taking the cord and then giving it up to the universal life force and plugging it back into that life force so that the person that you were connected with does not feel that sense of completely being cut off, but they are feeling connected to some higher power, spirit. And it's really beautiful because you don't have to feel like, oh, I'm just cutting this person out of my life and I'm doing it with anger. You're actually doing it with a lot of love and a lot of intention to let them go and to unwind the karma that has formed between both of you. So I would say have that practice and just sit with it. The next step is to learn how to be okay with being alone. And I put this step before seeking help from friends, which is really important too. But we have the Four of Swords card here, which is all about rest and replenishment and relaxation. But it's also about coming home to yourself. Because you've been entangled with this other person, it's really hard to know what you want and need until you are with yourself. And I could tell you from my experience that when I was going through this process, I kept saying to myself and thinking to myself, I'm going to die alone. This figure here looks like he's dead. And that is my biggest fear and has been my biggest fear. I am going to die alone. I'm never going to find love. And the negativity in the way I was thinking would come up for me. So I encourage you to also sit with this as well, because you have more than you realize in yourself and in your ability to be resilient, but also to be self reliant. And when you are in the space of surrendering and letting go, you're letting God, the universe, goddess, whatever you want to call that higher power, that energy, kind of take over. And it's a type of serenity that is here in the temperance card with this angel. And you see here in this card, there's sunlight and a sunrise in the background. So this is a symbol of hope for the future after you kind of surrender yourself and let go completely. And I think it's really important to acknowledge this step because in those darkest moments when you feel alone, that's when grace can come to you. That's when you can be on your knees asking for help and praying. And God, the universe, spirit, goddess will come to you in your time of need. And you don't always have to talk to them in your time of need. You can talk to them in your time of deep appreciation. But I think it's important to go through this phase and to feel the fear, but to know that you're being supported and nourished by your guides or higher power or something that's holding you as you're going through this transformation and this process. And also knowing that things will get better. And whether or not you find a partner in the future, you know that you as a person, as spirit, is going to be okay. And so that's when you can kind of transition into getting support from your community. And what's really interesting about this whole tarot reading is that there's a lot of male and masculine energy, and it's supportive energy. And I think it builds structure as you're going through all of these different emotions. So I pulled the King of Cups, which is very symbolic of those relationships that are going to nurture you and support you and create this foundation and platform as you're riding these emotional waves here. So this was a really interesting card that came up. And I love this card too because there's this tiny little fish in the background. I don't know if you could see it here, which reminds me of unexpected surprises and joys and beauty, and people taking you out to lunch and laughing with your friends and figuring out like what does that support look like and that nourishment look like as you're going through this really tender time. So that's the King of Cups energy that's coming out. And then number 6, and the final one, is to reestablish what you love to do in life, your hobbies, your interests, things that feel really good. And this is represented by the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands is here with passion, which is about the wands, and then new beginnings, which is symbolized by these little leaves that are coming from the wand. What haven't you done in a really long time? Maybe because your ex wasn't into it or was preventing you from doing things that you love, like dancing or painting or going to sci-fi movies. I don't know. It could be anything that you used to do that you loved doing and had stopped for some reason. Um, get yourself out there, get yourself meeting people. It's not necessarily about dating just yet, but it's about meeting people, putting your energy out there, making sure that you're feeding your soul and doing things that make you feel good inside so that you can slowly transition from all of these emotions and create the life that you want so that you can attract the partner that you want. So, what I started doing was I started hanging out with my girlfriends and going on walks and happy hours and enjoying nature and dancing. I went dancing by myself sometimes once a week, and it was so therapeutic for me, but it also helped me establish my identity and myself so that I could be prepared for coming into a partnership with a new feeling, new intentions, that vivaciousness, and that excitement for life. And since I blocked my ex, it took a couple of months, and then I met my current partner. And we are just so much in alignment, and it's such a compatible relationship, and I have a happy ending to my story, which you can as well. I hope that this video was really helpful. Please share in the comments what you're going through. If you want any support, please reach out and take care.